If you look at the world today, no matter where you live, it's hard to escape a simple question. Are we getting close to the end? You see, wars and conflicts in different regions, economies shaking and prices rising, natural disasters and extreme weather, pandemics and health crises, rapid moral and cultural change, technology and AI advancing faster than we can process. Every time something major happens, someone says, "This proves Bible prophecy is happening right now. This is exactly what Jesus warned about." Prophecy videos explode, headlines scream, and many people feel either terrified or numb. But in the middle of all the noise, very few people slow down and ask the one question that really matters. What did Jesus actually say about the end times? Not what YouTube said, not what a movie showed, not what a date setter claimed, but what Jesus himself in the Gospels actually taught about wars and disasters, false prophets and deception, tribulation and pressure, his return, and how his followers should live in a world that feels unstable. In this video, we're going back to his words. We'll open Matthew 24 to 25, Mark 13, Luke 21, and walk through what he really said. And then we'll ask, how did these words speak into the world we see today? What did Jesus warn us not to do when everything feels like it's shaking? And what did he tell us to focus on most as history moves toward his return? No hype, no dates, no this headline proves everything. Just Jesus' teaching, taken seriously. If you are tired of fear-based prophecy content and want calm, scripture-first teaching that helps you live ready without living terrified, you're in the right place. Let's begin where Jesus began, with a conversation about the temple. Jesus' main end times message is often called the Olivet Discourse because he spoke it on the Mount of Olives, overlooking Jerusalem. In Matthew 24, his disciples are admiring the beauty and strength of the temple buildings. Jesus says something shocking. Quote, "Do you not see all these things? Assuredly, I say to you, not one stone shall be left here upon another that shall not be thrown down." End quote. Matthew 24, 2. Later, as he sits on the Mount of Olives, the disciples come to him privately and ask, "Tell us, when will these things be, and what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" Matthew 24, 3. They connect three big ideas: the temple's destruction, Jesus' coming, and the end of the age. They want to understand timing and signs. Just like many people today, they want to know, how close are we? What should we look for? Jesus gives them a long, serious answer. Some parts clearly point to events that happened in the 1st century, like the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD. Other parts look beyond that to his final return and the end of the age. Christians differ on some details about how to divide those things, but what is clear is this: Jesus gives us a pattern of what to expect and a way to live as the end approaches. And the very first thing he says is not what many people expect. He does not say, "Here is the date." He does not say, "Watch this one country only." The very first thing he says is a warning. "Take heed that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, saying, 'I am the Christ,' and will deceive many." Matthew 24, 4 through 5. Before Jesus talks about wars or earthquakes or anything else, he warns about deception. That means any serious discussion of end times must start with a serious commitment to avoid being deceived, even by religious voices that claim to speak for him. In a world full of information, teachers, channels, and movements, this warning is more relevant than ever.
let's walk through the main elements of Jesus' end times teaching and connect them carefully to what we see in our world today. We'll focus mainly on Matthew 24, but the same themes appear in Mark 13 and Luke 21. 1. Deception and false voices. We already heard the opening. Take heed that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and will deceive many. Matthew 24, 4-5. Jesus says, many will claim to represent him. Some will even claim to be the Messiah. Many people will be misled. Today, that deception can look like individuals claiming to be a new Christ or chosen one, leaders claiming exclusive revelation beyond the Bible, ministries building entire platforms on constant, sensational predictions. Jesus' warning is global. Wherever you live, do not assume that everyone using his name is speaking his truth. The test is always, does this teaching line up with Scripture? Does it lead me toward Jesus' words or away from them into fear, pride, or control? 2. Wars and disasters and the beginning of sorrows. Jesus continues, and you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Matthew 24, 6-8. Notice several things. Wars and conflicts are not a surprise. Jesus said they would happen. Famines, diseases, and earthquakes would continue. He calls them the beginning of sorrows, like the early stages of labor. He also says the end is not yet. That is crucial. Every time a conflict erupts, every time a disease spreads, every time the earth shakes, someone says, this proves the end has arrived. Jesus says these events mean we are in a world under birth pangs, but we cannot use them as an exact clock to pinpoint the moment. They are real, they are serious, they get our attention. They fit the pattern Jesus described, but they do not allow us to set a date. His command is, see that you are not troubled. He is not saying, pretend nothing is wrong. He is saying, do not let fear rule your heart when these things happen. 3. Pressure on believers and a cold world. Jesus turns to what his followers will face. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and kill you, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many will be offended, will betray one another, and hate one another. Then many false prophets will rise up and deceive many, and because lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. Matthew 24, 9-13. Throughout history, and especially in our own time, this has played out in different ways. In some countries, Christians face open persecution, imprisonment, violence, even death. In other countries, believers face social pressure, marginalization, or restrictions on speaking truth. In many places, relationships fracture over faith and convictions. We also see lawlessness increasing, crime and violence, corruption, moral confusion. Jesus warns that in such a climate, love can grow cold. That may be one of the most sobering phrases in his whole message. In a hard world, it becomes easy for hearts to harden. Jesus' call is not just pay attention to the signs. His call is endure, keep your faith,
guard your love. He then adds a global dimension. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all the nations, and then the end will come. Matthew 24:14. So when you look at the world today, it is true that darkness is real, but it is also true that the message of Jesus is being translated, shared, and believed in places it has never reached before. Both sides of this picture belong in Jesus' view of the end times. 4. The abomination of desolation and the great tribulation. In verse 15, Jesus mentions something very specific. Therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet standing in the holy place, whoever reads, let him understand. Matthew 24:15. He connects his teaching to the book of Daniel. There is honest debate among Christians about how much of this was fulfilled in the events around 70 AD and how much points to a future, final fulfillment. What is clear is that Jesus warns of a time of extraordinary distress. For then there will be great tribulation, such as has not been since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. And unless those days were shortened, no flesh would be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened. Matthew 24:21-22. We do not need to settle every detail, timing, and sequence to recognize this. Jesus says there will be a unique period of intense trouble, so great that if God did not limit it, no one would survive. At the same time, he says those days will be shortened for his people. So his message is serious, but not hopeless. 5. His return, public, visible, global. Jesus then speaks directly about his own coming. He says, "For as the lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so also will be the coming of the Son of Man. And then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory." This means his return will not be secret. It will not be a hidden event in a corner. It will be public, visible, global. Wherever you live, you will not need someone to tell you he already came in a hidden way. Jesus says the whole world will see. 6. No one knows the day or the hour. On timing, Jesus is absolutely clear. But of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, but my Father only. Matthew 24:36. No one knows, not prophecy experts, dream interpreters, code breakers, or anyone else. This does not mean we ignore the signs. It means we cannot use them to set a date on the calendar. Any claim that says we know exactly goes beyond what Jesus himself allowed. He compares his coming to the days of Noah. People living normal lives, eating, drinking, marrying, until judgment suddenly came. His point is, the world will feel normal to many. His coming will be sudden and unexpected. His followers must live ready at all times, not because we know the date, but because we don't.
Jesus did not speak about the end times just to give us information. He spoke so that our hearts would be anchored, our lives would be shaped, and our hope would be rightly placed. Let's look at how he told us to live in a world like ours. 1. See that you are not troubled. When Jesus listed wars and crises, he said, "See that you are not troubled." Matthew 24:6. This is not a suggestion. It is a command. It doesn't mean we ignore suffering or danger. It doesn't mean we never feel concern. It means we refuse to let fear be our master. Wherever you are in the world, with whatever news you are hearing, Jesus' words still apply. Do not let panic drive your decisions. Do not build your faith on headlines. Let his promises steady your heart. 2. Stay spiritually awake. Jesus repeatedly says, "Watch therefore, for you do not know what hour your Lord is coming." Matthew 24:42. Watching is more than watching the news. It means staying awake spiritually, guarding your heart against sin, bitterness, and distraction, staying close to him in scripture and prayer. In any country, in any culture, we can be so absorbed in everyday life that we stop living as if Jesus is truly coming. He warns against being weighed down with the cares of this life. Luke 21:34. End times readiness is not just having the right opinions. It is living with a heart that belongs to him. 3. Be a faithful servant where you are. Jesus tells a parable about a master who goes away and leaves his servants in charge. The blessed servant is the one who is doing his job when the master returns. Blessed is that servant whom his master, when he comes, will find so doing. Matthew 24:46. End times living is not just waiting and watching, it is also working and being faithful. For you, that might mean being a faithful husband, wife, or parent, serving in your church, doing your work with integrity, caring for the poor, sharing the gospel as God opens doors. Jesus is not looking for people who can decode everything. He is looking for people who are faithful with what he has given them. 4. Guard your love from growing cold. Jesus said, "Because lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold." Matthew 24:12. In a harsh world, we can become harsh. In a divided world, we can become divided. In a fearful world, we can become hard and selfish. One of the clearest ways to live ready for his return is to fight against a cold heart. Keep loving God with all your heart. Keep loving his people even when they fail. Keep loving the lost even when the world is dark. Truth without love can become cruelty. Love without truth can become compromise. Jesus calls us to both. 5. Trust his timing more than our timelines. In the end, Jesus calls us to a specific posture: watching, sober, not deceived, not afraid, faithful, full of hope. We may or may not be the generation that sees his return. We do not know. But every generation is called to live as if he could come at any time, not by quitting life, but by living every day under his lordship. Wherever you are, whatever is happening around you, you can say, "My hope is not in the stability of this world, but in the one who promised to return." If this message helped you understand more clearly what Jesus actually said about the end times, and not just what people say he said, consider saving this teaching, sharing it, and filling your mind with his words more than with fear. I'd also love to hear from you. Which part of Jesus' teaching about the end times do you think is most needed today? Do not be deceived, do not be troubled, or be ready and faithful. Share your thoughts respectfully and always anchor your opinions in Scripture. Remember, we are not called to wait in fear. We are called to watch in faith with our eyes on Jesus, our hearts awake, and our lives ready for the day he comes.